everyone, my name is Amanda Terry. I am the teacher here in the 3-year-old class, the Ocean Pals. I've been here at Kids Are Kids for just under 10 years, and today I would like to teach you about writing prerequisites and fine motor skills. So before you can begin writing, there are some things that need to be learned first. So you've got two sides of your brain, and basically they need to be able to function together at the same time. And in order to do this, you need to do something called crossing the midline. The midline is basically the invisible line from the top of your head to your toes that separates the right side of your body from the left side of your body. This is first done actually by doing gross motor activities. So different gross motor activities that you could do that cross the midline are erasing a chalkboard, sweeping the floor, reaching to wipe off a table, raking leaves, and it can even be like a little kid rake, and they can just pretend. And even just as simple as reaching across your body to receive an item from somebody. So anytime your hands or your feet cross over, you're crossing the midline, and it's training your brain to use both sides of your brain at the same time. So this gross motor development of crossing the midline and learning to use both sides of your brain together supports the development for their fine motor skills. And just a quick side note, the raking and the sweeping, they could be considered chores, and it's been said to make sure that these activities are not meant to be perfect. It's just literally the motion of going through the motion of raking or sweeping to get them across that midline. Another prerequisite to writing is actually independence. If you let children do things for themselves, it allows their hands and their arms to be able to grasp and hold and bend, and to get them ready to hold a paper, hold a pencil. Some of the hand skill opportunities would be self-feeding with utensils, dressing and undressing themselves, doing simple chores at home, and playing with little things you might have around the house like pipe cleaners and beads, putting them on there, playing with wiki sticks, which are kind of like pipe cleaners but they're sticky and you can bend them all over, lacing cards, using a hole puncher. Play-Doh is always great because you can manipulate that in all kinds of ways, and actually peeling stickers and sticking. And it's a lot of fun. So there's actually another way that you can build some phonics with your fine motor, your hand skill, and that would be like getting a container of salt or rice or shaving cream, and these allow the reinforcement of the formation of the letters in a flat way without the demand of having to also think about properly holding a pencil, sitting in the chair the right way. It gives them a chance to do those things on a flat surface. Did you know that there is one special hand skill that's actually a pre-writing skill? And that's right, it's cutting. But before you cut, it's actually ripping. So the ripping action, got a little paper here for you. I guess I'll let Layla, my helper here. Will you use your 3 fingers and rip this paper for me? All right. See, she had a little trouble. So we're going to make sure our fingers are together like this at the top, right there, and then we're going to rip it. There you go. So ripping replicates the tripod grasp that you need to hold the pencil, and you're ripping it in opposite directions. So the paper, and actually she did a good job because this is thin paper, and you should start out with thicker paper like construction paper or a piece of cardstock, or this is a piece of cardboard from an ice cream box. Ripping that would be definitely easier. After they're able to rip, the next thing would be snipping. And snipping is actually done with scissors, but it's only one cutting motion, and then that's done. So if you take a small piece of paper, Layla, would you show us how to do snipping? Good job. All right, hold this paper. You can put 3 fingers in there at the bottom. 1, 2, 3. Good job. Put your thumb in there. All right, I'd like you to hold this paper, and a snip is 1 cut all the way across. There you go. So that's a snip. Snipping is a stepping stool for cutting, because once they're able to take that scissor and just 1 cut, it's done. And again, start with thicker paper and move down to thinner paper. And then your next step is cutting, which we all know is multiple cutting strokes. So you're going to start with a small piece of paper, like short, and as they're able to get better with the opening and the closing and the pushing forward of the scissors, then you would make the paper longer and bigger. You can go down to thinner paper. This is printing paper. We've got a newspaper or a magazine, and then even so small as tissue paper. All right. I do have a complete list of prerequisites for writing that will be available that we can scan and email out if you are interested. Okay, so once you've gotten all the prerequisites out of the way and your child is ready to write, the next thing that you want to think about is, how do you do it? How should you sit? How should you hold the pencil? So, we're going to show you the proper sitting position for writing. Okay, you ready to help? All right, come on over here. Over here. I'm going to go on the side here so Miss Melanie can see. Okay, so proper sitting position is that your bottom is all the way back in the chair. Your feet are straight forward. And you notice here that her feet do not touch the floor. So feet should be firmly planted on the floor. If your child cannot reach the bottom, cannot reach the floor, there's some small hacks that you could do. So as you see, I've got a bungee cord and some rubber bands that will allow her to place her feet on here for more stability. Also, what you could do is wrap your ankles around the legs of the chair. Can you try to wrap your ankles around the edge there? Oh, I think my cord's in the way. All right, well, you can wrap your ankles right around here, and that'll help you get more stability in the seat so you don't feel wobbly. All right, so I'm going to push you up to the table. So the table should be about belly height, and then you write with this hand, right? Your right hand? Okay. So the writing hand is called the mover hand, okay? And the hand that you're not writing with is called the stabilizer hand. So if you've got this paper, actually I'll just give you this. So this is going to be your paper, okay, Layla? And here's your writing utensil. All right. So she's going to place her She's going to place her stabilizing hand on the paper, and her arm is on the table. Her mover hand is going to also be on the table, not like this with her elbow. We call that chicken wing, because then you're kind of doing what we call arm writing, which is a little messier. But when you're really young, that's okay. All right, so she's going to show us how she can write her name using proper sitting position.
Doing good.
Great job, Layla. Okay, so once you've got the proper sitting position, then you really need to focus on the proper pencil grasp. So I'm going to show you what most of us do when trying to get a child to write. We give them a pencil like this. This is what adults used to write with, and it's okay for us because we're grown-ups. But a child holding a pencil this size is equivalent to us, pretend this is a big giant pencil like from Dave & Buster's, is equivalent to us trying to write with one of those huge pencils. when you move it, it's very heavy, your hands are going to get tired, and your words are probably going to be pretty messy. So you always want to try to make sure that you have a smaller pencil to fit in their hand. And I know I just gave Layla a marker, but if you take the cap off, it's really not that long, and it's light. There you go, sweetie, you can cap that. So, on this pencil, I have a tripod, like, helper. So this just slides on any pencil, and what it does is it can help the children remember that your index finger, your middle finger, which we call middleman, and your thumb are the three fingers that we use. So these two fingers, your pinky and your ring finger, actually go to sleep, and they can hold a pillow. And it could be anything from a cotton ball to a pom-pom, a penny, a piece of candy. And basically, these two fingers go to sleep, and you need them to hold their pillow, right? They're going to put their head on their pillow. And you're going to use these three fingers, put them together like so, kind of like a little triangle, right? 3 points. And your middle finger is going to go under. That's going to be your support under your pencil, right? And then your index and thumb come together. Great job. And remember, your whole arm should be on the table when writing. That way, they learn to use their wrist and their fingers versus their whole arm. This will result in smaller writing and being able to stay on a dotted line or within the confines of whatever space you've given them to write something. Okay? I just drew a little picture there of the little triangle that your fingers would make with your middle, your thumb, and your index finger. Okay, so we talked a little bit about leg and feet positions when writing. So your legs should be straight and not, off to the side over here somewhere or sitting. I've actually seen some friends try to sit crisscross applesauce in a chair, and what they're doing is they're looking for stability in their chair, because if you're little and your feet don't touch the floor, you just feel kind of wobbly. You could fall right off. I've seen that happen too. So what you can do is you can get a step stool and you can put it under their feet. Like I said, I've got the band on there. You could get, a toy, a block, put it underneath their feet. And basically that helps them use their core muscles, and they're just more steady in their chair. And when they're steady, they're not worried about, am I going to fall out of my chair? So they can focus on sitting and doing their writing. All right. So, that's awesome. So again, why stability is important. They can actually tip over or fall out of the chair. So it says here that if your core muscles are weak or underdeveloped, your feet don't touch the floor, you feel wobbly, and it actually leads to poor control over your arms and hands, which result in inefficient and poor handwriting skills. A weak muscle grip. I've seen kids with really, really loose, they hold the pencil real loosely. And even sometimes, guys, it can affect a child's self-esteem. And you may not think that such a thing of sitting in a chair, stably would affect that, but it's kind of like a chain reaction. So we definitely want to do everything we can to keep that self-esteem up. All right. So finger, hand, and wrist strength. Why is it important? So essentially, you have to have your muscles strong to do anything, right? You need to use your biceps to lift things, so you need to work them out. Well, if you're going to be writing with a pencil, your fingers have to be able to move. You have to be able to move your wrist without getting exhausted after writing 2 letters or scribbling a picture or drawing a picture. So some of the things that you can do, again, are all of the fine motor skills. We've got Play-Doh with cutters.
I do Play-Doh right now.
It's not open, sweet pea, I'm sorry. It's still in plastic. Using these to help them push down, to get the strength on their pencil so that their pencil marks are not so light that you can't see them. And even these things, it's kind of like a mold. So they'll push their stuff in there and then they can squeeze it shut. Again, using those muscles in their arms. hole punchers. Those are really great, and it's a safe tool that children can use. They're not going to cut their hand off or anything. It's just a good squeeze. One thing I did not mention was these little stress balls. We have these in our class, in our fine motor center, that the kids can come and squeeze. Right? We've also got little bean bags. They kind of do the same thing, and they're fun to play with. Okay. Other things that you could do that are not on the table are crumbling up newspaper or wrapping paper, right? When you open a gift, sometimes you just want to throw the paper away and say, forget that, but you know what? You can crumble it up and get nice and strong.
If you want to put a present, close it up and give it to your mommy.
There you go. Another thing too is good, if you have these little crafts, instead of putting them in a bucket like this, which is still okay, another suggestion that's pretty cool is the Ziploc slider bags. I learned about that in a training session because it, again, makes them use the pincher grasp, and they've got to slide it over. And peeling stickers is always fun. All right, so once they're able to write, you really want to focus on their letter formation. Before you can do that, you have to teach them directional words like top to bottom, left to right, over, up, down, slant, curve, or bump, some people might say. You can use dry erase books that they have. This is not a dry erase book right here. This is just a regular workbook. So you can use a dry erase or a paper workbook. And some of them even show you the directions. It's very tiny, but it'll have a 1 and a 2 and a 3 for all of the letters to show you which order to write the line in.
What are we going to do with the rice?
You can use the rice if you like. So, I would like to interject another warning real quick, is that please do not force your children to write before they are developmentally ready. And here's why. If so, it can actually lead to poor pencil grasp, a weak grip, low fine motor skills, stuttering, low self-esteem, and unorthodox letter formation. So like, for example, I have down here, we would write a letter E, we would start here and we would go over and then up and around. Children who do it incorrectly would most likely start down here at the bottom and curve up and then slide over. And sometimes they're less neat. Sometimes you can't tell what they are. So some people may not think that that's important. Like, who cares as long as they could write the letter E. But it's just a building block for future learning and writing skills. So if you're teaching your children, or you are a teacher, once they're able to write and they can hold their pencil and they can do all of those things, this is just a little paper that can also be available showing you which order is best to teach the letters in as far as handwriting goes, and this is based on difficulty level. Now, if you're using different kind of programs, or you might ask your aunt who's been teaching for 50 years, she might have a different opinion, and that's okay. There's nothing set in stone, but this is just a good place to start. And I'll have this available. This is just a timeline, kind of year and month of when your child should be able to do certain things. So in my room, in the 3.5-year-old class, I would like to see that they're able to do a vertical line, a horizontal line, and make a circle. So these are the building blocks that I would like to see either when they're coming into our class or some things that we'll work on when they come in. All right. So over here on this table, I've got some examples of the different kind of difficulty levels of the writing. So this right here is one of the pre-writing things. These are called tracing trails, and so they can actually trace these with their fingers. Or, you could use a pencil, you could use a marker, whichever you'd like. After they're able to, make their lines, we always want to start with capital letters. Let me start over here. The step 1, you'd like to give them unlined paper and just give them something that they can scribble with. Crayons, markers, chalk, it doesn't matter. Okay, after that, they're going to move over. You would like to give them a solid black line to trace over. And then once they're able to wrap their brain around seeing the black against the paper as writing a letter, then you can break up the line, and it could be a broken line or dotted line, and then they can trace over these. This is what we often see when people are teaching handwriting. Once they're able to do that, you can actually move on, and you can give them some lined paper, not like college ruled lined, but this kind of lined. It's very wide, it's large, it gives them a chance to make their letters nice and big. Layla went ahead and made this for me earlier. And you can actually write their name on a paper so that they can look at it and try to match it instead of always trying to pull it out of their brain. So once they're at this stage, it's kind of the same as this. So this is laminated. This can be used with a dry erase marker over and over again. And then that'll kind of progress to letting them write the letter on their own on the line. And again, this is uppercase. And next, after uppercase would be the lowercase. Once they've mastered all of those things, you can give them the paper that just has the lines. And you could essentially write down anything on any paper and they could copy it. And then just for fun, we like to do this because this gives them the letter and then a space, a smaller confined space to write the letter on their own without the lines. So, hopefully you guys have learned something about fine motor skills, you know, the prerequisites for writing, and different activities that you can do at home or in a preschool setting, you know, that are fun, because all of those toys are a lot of fun and our children love it. They're always trying to go to Fine Motor Center. As you see, Layla's really enjoying the rice. And see, children actually learn best through play. So thank you for watching this video, and I look forward to hearing about and seeing all the growth and learning that your children are doing. Thanks. Bye.